Welcome to this Mark's Reviews and Tutorials video. Well, this is a bit of an exciting one for you. This is an N20 BMW engine. You see here, twin power turbo. This engine can come in a 28i or a 20i. And we're actually going to be changing out the rocker cover gasket. So under this plastic cover, the main rocker, going to change the gasket in that if you've got oil leaks or things like that. This is the video to show you what's involved in getting that off and replacing the gasket. Okay, so step one is remove the engine cover, and that, although if you're getting into a job this hard, you probably already know how to do that, but just pull off the rubber grommets at the front and then pull that forward. Now this one, I've got two 2012 cars. This one has got some extra little cords on the side here. This is an American, this is an X3, so it's an American made BMW. And the other one is a 3 Series, and it's a German made BMW, and it doesn't have that little vacuum tank that runs back to the vacuum pump here. It doesn't have that up here, so that's an extra part which is just on the American X3. Okay, so now we're going to take this fuel rail off, which is a matter of taking these off here. So we're going to need some E sockets and then undoing this here with a normal spanner, and we're going to take that fuel rail off. Now, because we're going to be taking the fuel rail off too, this pressurizes up. And with BMW, it can pressurize up just when you open your door and things like that. So we've got to disconnect the battery so that that won't automatically pressurize up. So disconnect the battery. Have a look at the video up here to show how to disconnect your battery. We're going to take this fuel rail off and then take the coils here out. They just spin up like that and pull up. And we take the coils out. So there you see the first one. That's the plug that comes out. So you lift it up like that. The act of lifting it up actually unplugs this. That then comes out, and then you pull that vertically up. You get a screwdriver under it. Be careful of where you lever, but that'll then just pull straight up, and that's the coil here is sitting on top of the spark plug. So you take out those 4. So these coils literally come all the way out like that, and that's the coil unplugged. That's the plug that unplugged. That's the coil, and down there you can see the top of the spark plug. Okay, so in the back of your car, you lift up your hatch, and then under here, a couple of little catches, and under there, voila, is the battery. And so what we want to do is disconnect the battery so that there's no way that fuel can come spewing out. Okay, so a BMW can look a little bit intimidating. Well, let's face it, a BMW battery does look a little bit intimidating. But what we need to do is get the main clamp off the... So to start with, we're going to undo this bolt here. That's a 10mm socket you're going to need to get in there and to undo that. So we take that off. Okay, so the big red part is a module on the top, and it comes apart in 2 stages. So basically we unclip on this side and that side. Just put a screwdriver down the side into that metal clip there so that unclips, and then we lift that up. Now don't leave it sparking and jumping on and off the terminal. So you loosen off the bolt and then lift that up, hold it out of the way, and then you'll be able to lift up the terminal that you've undone with the 10mm there. So there's 2 bolts, one here, one there, and then we're off from the battery. So everything is now disconnected. The fuel rail off now, and it's a 14mm spanner to get onto these guys and open them. And there will be a little bit of fuel that's under pressure, but the battery's disconnected at this point. So we're undoing here, and we're also undoing these 4 bolts at the top. So these fuel rail bolts on here are E8. I'll put links to all the different tools, E-sockets and E-spanners and different spanners and so forth, all the tools you need to do this job. Then we're going to be rotating that up and then lifting it out of the way. The bolt on the back of the rail here is a 17. We just pull that out of the way. Have a rag on hand to wipe up all the fuel, and make sure you've got good ventilation. I've got doors open front and back. So when you've got fuel spilling out, you don't want it to just be stuck in one spot. This clamp up on the top here can be quite a difficult one to get out. You just need to run a screwdriver up underneath here. You can see the structure here. There's just a metal clip that clips down onto the plastic here. So in actual fact, you can just give it a good old reef off, but put a screwdriver in along the side, and then you can lift it up or lever it up, and then it'll come off. And it's just a press fit when it presses back on. So we're going to undo this now to lift that up, get that out of the way, and that currently is what's stopping that fuel rail from lifting up and coming out of the way as well. So next we're going to take this sensor off here. This plug here, there's just you grab it at the top, two little things spin in and then wobble wobble, that'll come off at the top. Two more T8, M8, S8, what are they? E8. Two more E8 bolts to undo this, and then this comes off like that, and there's an O-ring up in the top of that, you see, and then that'll now have the cover lift up over the top. So that now lets us get the fuel rail out. We can get that up and out of the way. We can lift this bucket and out of the way, and then start to work on the loom electrical connections down here. So we're going to take the plug out the end of the fuel rail so we can get it right out of the way. On the end, there's just a little lever you can press, and you click it, and you can actually see in the end there that moving, and that releases the plug. So you click that down and then pull, and that will come out. But you've got to get onto that little lever and press it towards the wires. Then that's out, and that whole fuel rail will come out. So next we've got this lead on the front, and that's again these plastic clips, grabbing them on the bottom like that and pulling it down, and that will come off. Again, when we put this back, you see there's an O-ring on there, so we're going to lube that O-ring up so that it's a bit nice. But that's obviously sucking air out from the top here. It's returning down here into the engine. This is the airflow past the air filter. So you've got air coming in from the top of the engine. There's your PCV valve up here, so this will be to do with that, and it's feeding it back into the engine down here. So there's an 8mm bolt right here and right here, and that's holding the earth wires for these two coils and the earth wires for these two coils. You take those off. I'm using the Ziploc bag method. This top sensor, I've put parts in, and then parts that are close to it I'll put in, and I'll label them so that when it comes time to put things back together, they're labeled, they're clear, and you know which bolts go which, and it's much simpler. I'd highly recommend you do that. Okay, next we're taking off, this is the wires off the fuel injector, and don't worry about the little tabs on the side, but on the longer side there's a metal tab, and you need to get a little screwdriver under that metal tab like that. Let's have a look at this one here. You'll see there's a metal tab there. You got to get a screwdriver to pull that back, and then this plug will come up and out. There's a spot on the other side of it there that it locks in. So screwdriver's getting onto that metal tab, pulling it back, and then you can pull the plug out. And there's 4 of those. Okay, so now we're going to take the high pressure fuel pump out here. This is a T30 to get these out with the Torx, and these are actually a 17mm, believe it or not, these fuel lines here. One of them runs around to the fuel rail, which is this pipe right there, and the other one is actually the supply line that comes up from the fuel tank. It gets pressurized here and then driven into the engine. So we're going to lift these 2 T30s out, take both these off, take this out, and get the fuel line, just push it back out of the way, and this one will come off. Okay, so this high pressure fuel pump is about to come out. We have this, again, looking for the little levers. There's a lever on here, you press that down, and then this whole top cap assembly comes off plug wise like that. And we've got these 2 fuel lines out. So this is now ready to come out and lift out like that. That is your high pressure fuel line, which runs off a cam in there. The bracket that runs across the back here with a couple more E-sockets here and here, and they actually hold on the thing that holds that top plastic engine cover on. So we're just going to take out those 2 E-sockets and then take that bracket out. E6 sockets involved in getting this off over the back. So there's 2 E6s on the top and then 2 E6s over the back. I'm going to go with the ring spanner to get those back ones off. Okay, so next we're going to take the loom off, starting here. These type of plugs here with the metal on them, you need to press them in, press them right in, and then slide them across. That'll get off that little tab there and pull those plugs off. And then down here, we're going to take these little plastic connectors off here and here, so this loom will drop away and let us get that cover off.